We have Dr. Jimmy Goddard with us today. And what we are going to be talking about is leading with passion and purpose.
Hi, everyone. My name is Dr. Jimmy Godard. I have been in the financial industry in technology for the
Okay.
past 25 years. I'm currently the president of the company Global Compass, where I coach and I deliver keynote presentations,
Yeah.
seminars, workshops, and also certification for project management office. My goal is really to help leaders with passion and purpose. So I work a one-on-one. So groups help them develop strategies, identify their objectives, and work with the team to get some goals outlined and help them understand why they are doing what they want to do. And that why is really the fuel that will help you overcome any type of obstacles that you may face to really get you to your goals, to achieving your goals. Not only achieving them, but achieving them with passion, purpose.
That totally makes sense. And I remember in the pre-show, one of the things that we were talking about was, yes, you were talking about like the business, project management, et cetera. You had said that you were a professor, which I find interesting. But also, you were talking about being a soccer coach, and so it sounds like you're a person that has a lot of different interests.
Yes, definitely. For me, the way I look at it, growing up, I was studying a lot of French literature. One that really got me, I was really torn apart between two philosophies. One that said you have to learn everything that there is to learn, everything
Yeah.
that is known to man, I must know it. And the other one was more, I need to know a little bit about everything. I don't need to be an expert. So that really shaped my life even
Yeah.
today and everything that I do. For me, it's like the depth and the breadth of knowledge. It's what really always keeps me going. I'm very
Uh huh.
curious. I love Steve Jobs, who said that you be full, be foolish, be hungry, be curious, right? Be
Yeah.
foolish, be hungry. And I really use that motto in everything that I do, whether it is my own organization that I lead, doing research constantly, and you have that synergy and all those elements, whether it is during the research from a scholarly perspective to really identify new
Mhm.
trend methodologies, new frameworks. I bring that into my practice, into my day-to-day activities and work and colleagues that I deal
Yeah.
with. And that allow me to get that understanding so I can be a thought leader to really give back not only to the community, to my colleagues, friends, and so forth, and also to my family. And I also love soccer. I coach soccer and I do, my goodness, I love researching. For me, the thing about soccer, as we just finished the last World Cup,
Yeah.
congratulations, Messi. I was not too happy. I wanted Messi to win, but I'll stop right there. It's the stories behind why teams play, why players play. Where
Yeah.
teams they joined the World Cup, they wanted to score one goal in the World Cup. They've never done that before. You have teams that wanted to win only one game in the World Cup. And I had a very small group where we were studying those teams, we're
Mhm.
studying those players and figuring out who has the greatest why to win this World Cup. And
Interesting.
exactly. When you find out you have Lionel Messi, pretty much he has done everything that's not in soccer, but except winning a World Cup. His why was really the greatest, if you will. All the other great players that were playing on the stage. So the why becomes really the fundamental, the fuel, and also what drives everybody to get to where they want to go. So if you're doing something right now, take a break and ask yourself this question: what is my why? If
Mhm.
you did not find your why, most likely it's going to be very task focused. It will be very arduous for you to make it to the finish line.
Yeah.
So identify your why.
Yeah. And I think that's really important because as I've gotten a little older, one of the things I've started to come to understand is that when I was younger, I would think, okay, I really want to achieve a certain goal, or I really want to be happy, or I really want to do something or another out in the future. But the thing is, when you identify a thing or a thing you want to achieve or a kind of place you want to get to, what that does is that as long as you're disconnected from that, it creates a situation where it is very easy for you to become discontented. And then once you get there, you end up being like, is this it? Is this everything? Is that process of progressing yourself forward that's actually what's really important. It's not necessarily where you're going, provided that where you're going is in fact something constructive. If you're engaged in criminal or immoral enterprises, that's probably not the best use of creative intelligence. But that's just the big aha for me has been it that is, I think, as Chris Gulliblue said, it is the happiness of pursuit, not necessarily the pursuit of happiness.
You said it so well, Doug. And my one-on-one coaching, even in my personal life, my interaction with my children, one of the things I have to remind them is they must have a vision. And it was funny, I once was doing a very presentation with high level executives, and I would
Mhm.
ask them, can you articulate one vision that you have? It can be your personal vision, your work, and your organization. And a lot of them raised their hands and they were rightfully, but there were also a group who were very perplexed. And they told me, nobody ever asked me that question. What's my vision? And at first, I was a little bit critical until I get to talk to them with kind of the bridge, and I understand that a lot of us find ourselves to this position, to we climb the corporate ladder, or we find
Mhm.
ourselves where we are today. We're just grinding it. We're just going day after day, but never ask ourselves the question,
Yeah.
why am I doing this, man? What's in it for me? What's the drive? Where am I going with all this? So I've come to realize the vision is really the key essential to really get us
Yeah.
motivated towards something. So you wake up this morning, what is it going to do? What everything that you do and everything that I just mentioned about myself, if we get to talk more, you'll find out they're all interconnected
Mhm.
towards the main vision, whether it is on my business where I really want to give back, and the name of our company, Global Compass, where I go around the world, help leaders to embrace the good notion of leadership that you have to support people. You have to help people be transformative, not beat people where they have, whether it is in my career, whether it is in the nonprofit organization that I lead. Everything has a vision. And then for me, what's so critical about vision, that my vision is not your vision. Therefore, it's funny how sometimes people will come to you and they'll tell you, you will never be able to achieve this. You'll never be able to do that. And they're correct because that's not their vision. So if it's not your vision, how do you know I cannot do it? Because that's what gives me a
Yeah.
provision to get to my vision. You don't have the provision. You don't have the stamina. You don't have my why. You don't have my strength.
Yeah.
So yes, you're right. I cannot do it from your perspective. But knowing where I want to go, knowing why I want to go there, that's going to give me the provision to reach my vision. And for
Yeah.
me, that is essential to everything.
Yeah, exactly. And the other thing that you mentioned that I just wanted to touch on, at least that I've noticed, is that being right about somebody else not being able to do something. Okay, yeah, maybe it feels a little validating, but ultimately it's about what are you doing that's meaningful? At least that's one of the things that I've come to see. So because of course I was younger, like a lot of people, I'm a good Gen Xer. So of course I was raised that it's really important to work hard at school, to get a good job, save for retirement, all that kind of stuff. Then 2008 happened and I started re-examining all of that. But the thing that I kind of kept thinking about was that there was some reading I was doing a little while ago about how pretty much almost irregardless of the size of a financial inheritance that's passed on from one generation to the next, within 3 generations, it's all gone. Not even the Vanderbilts. The Vanderbilts have managed to blow it all in 3 generations. I think the Rothschilds managed to help hold on to their money, but that's mostly because they run the European banking cartel. But anyway, the point is that a lot of us are really obsessed about trying to generate a whole bunch of financial assets so that we could secure a legacy. But when you think about it, it's not what does it. What secures a legacy is if you raise emotionally healthy, balanced, productive children. And then the other thing is if you meaningfully help people. Those are the only things that are really going to create any kind of legacy that will live longer than you do. Because especially in the current social media world, 2 weeks after you pass away, everybody will have forgotten you existed because there will be some other shiny object that catches their attention and they'll be paying attention to something different. And the point is not to be a nihilist, but just be real about what it is.
You said it very well. As a matter of fact, I was taking my son to a soccer
Mhm.
practice, talking to him. We always gonna talk, and also with my daughter. And she's in Chicago. She's going to school, and of course, she's meeting new people. Some of them very affluent, and then she's talking to me about. I believe they have a new term called "nepo child." Is like your parents' rich, all of a sudden you inherit.
What was the term? I don't heard
I
the
believe it's nepo baby or nepo child. I think it's a
Okay.
nepo child or something like that. Yeah. I think it comes from the whole notion of nepotism. So you inherit your family's legacy, your
Yeah.
family's wealth. And I was talking to her about this in both of them, and I was telling them, there is this notion people say that money doesn't bring happiness. I'm like, that is so true once you have money.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. Because there's a certain amount of financial resources that you do need in order to finance your life. But in a lot of cases, what will happen is people, they'll start accumulating more financial resources and they'll start making their life more complicated. So, you have a home, get a bigger home. Now you have a big yard to take care of, or you get a second home. Okay, now you have to take care of that, or you have to pay someone else to take care of that. You end up getting a boat. Okay, now I need to store it in a marina. Now I need to do winterizing. So you get a private plane. It's, okay, God, now I have the staff that I need to do for the plane. I need to worry about airplane hangers. Your life just gets more and more complicated. And what a lot of people find is that all that extra stuff ends up actually making them less happy than when their life was much more simple. But for whatever reason, humans are almost functionally incapable of keeping their life simple.
Yeah, I was watching a documentary. I believe, don't quote me on that. It's Mike Tyson who said, and Mike, I'm sorry if I get this story wrong.
Iron Mike is the best case study.
Yeah. So he said, and if I'm not mistaken, I believe it was a conversation with Jimmy Fox. So I'm getting myself deeper here.
Uh-huh.
And believe it's either Jimmy Fox or it's one of those other comedians
Uh-huh.
that Mike Tyson was having the conversation with. And after he lost everything, he said he was, and the question was, Mike, why are you happy? When you used to have all these mentions and so forth, he said, for one, nobody wants anything from me. And
Isn't that it?
yeah, nobody wanted anything from him at this point because he didn't have anything to give them. So the key for them to go back to the conversation, how legacy, how people by the third generation lose it. It boils down to the why, because you have the first generation, me being a first generation coming from a foreign country to work in the United States. I have a why I do what I do. Now the question is, or the challenge is, it's the ability for me to pass that why onto my children, or for them to have a bigger why, a bigger vision. If they do not understand what they have, they won't take care of it. And if they do not take care of it, they will end up losing it. And this happens to every single one of them, which is why the whole notion of gratitude is so important. Be grateful for what we have, when we have it, at the time we have it, and the moment that we are, because today is really present, right? If we are grateful with what we have, hopefully we will know what we have, we will take care of it, and we will not lose it. But when you have, to your point, you get all those wealth, you amass them, and you don't have a vision where you're taking them, you don't have a vision why you're here with all that, you're not going to take care of it, and then you're going to end up losing it, and your life gets so complicated, and you lose the whole reason why we're here, which is to make life better.
Yeah.
The way we found it. So if it's all about ourselves, right? If it's all about accumulating wealth, accumulate this and that, then when are you going to take the time to enjoy? And hopefully your children and your children's children will appreciate your hard work and they will manage it very well and take good care of it. Or at least you can say, planted the tree that provides shadow to the next generation.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. And I think that's a really good frame. So do I meaningfully feel that I left the world better than I found it, or that there was a net positive impact by me being here? And I think the thing is that that's a little bit of a grounding philosophy, because when you ask that, I'm always so sure. And the point isn't to make you feel guilty. The point is to say, okay, let's make the world better than you found it.
Exactly. But that should be a challenging question to all leaders listening to this.
Yeah.
What have you done lately for somebody else? For me, one thing that I do on a weekly basis, I try to send a thank you notes to some of my, because if you think about it, when you reach a certain level of in leadership, you don't do anything. You get overstressed, but you do not actually do anything basically, right?
Yeah.
Everything is done through other people.
Through other people.
Right? Because, for instance, when we talk about project management, program portfolio management, you have a series, you have an army of people around the world working around the clock, getting things done. Yes, you come up with the vision, you come up with the strategy with the core team to try to implement. But most of the things that get done, it's other people do them.
Yes.
The leader, have you ever taken the time to really send them a thank you card, or even it's $5 Starbucks gift card, man. Come on, you get paid the big bucks, right?
Yeah.
You can afford a $5 gift
Yeah.
card from Starbucks.
Exactly.
And also think about it. It's two ways. You're keeping them awake, sure they can work, and you say thank you. You know,
Yeah.
think about it. And
Yeah. Well,
this goes not only for high level executive, but this boils down to everybody who has somebody who follows it.
yeah.
So, you know, take the time. And I get that from was calling we had a blackout. Not even we had a blackout. Yeah, there was a blackout and some fuses blew up from my fuse box. And then I would call the company to come and fix it. And they said 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock afternoon, they were not there. And I was a little bit aggravated. I'm like, man, I need electricity. And I said, gee, I'm upset at them being late for 1 hour. When was the last time I picked up the phone and called the electrical company and said, thank you so much for giving me electricity? When was the last time you called the water company and said, thank you for providing me water? It's a luxury we take for granted. I'm not going to go and be grateful for other these people. But when you travel to foreign countries or developing, you take those things, those are privileges, they're luxury, right?
Yeah.
So as we enjoy them here, as we have teams around us to really help us look good, as we motivate teams, let's take the time to say thank you to somebody who has worked hard for us to keep our jobs, right?
Yeah.
It's not about us. It's about how can we make somebody's life better. And by doing so, you will enjoy gratification. You will enjoy the sense of fulfillment by helping, by giving back. And you know what? You make the world a better place.
Yeah. I think, there's comparatively few of us who are going to express thanks for the electricity until it goes out. But the thing I keep thinking is to say, when you go out and buy a new car, it's usually really great. And then you get used to it after a couple of weeks, and then then it renormalizes. And it's just remarkable how often that happens and how that new shiny effect wears off. And I think that one of the things that, getting this back to leadership, one of the things that we have to do, we have to do when we're leading people is to help them continue growing and to help them stay grounded. I would say, without necessarily preaching at them, basically help them stay grounded of their own accord, not necessarily because you're pointing your finger at them. That is it's an effective way to get tasks done. It's not an effective way to develop people, which is what I think leadership is really about.
Yes, this is so fundamental, even in my practice, in my training, that I really try to teach this to people. And that this whole notion of leadership, it's a framework that you have to embrace, because first of all, you have many people who are in position of leadership who do not recognize that, and they abuse it. And by abusing it, they are creating more harm to other people. And the challenge you have is oftentimes the way somebody behaves, it's because it's a reflection on the treatment they're receiving themselves. In other words, upper management is mean to middle management. Middle management just take the rod and beat the front line. And
Unfortunately, that seems to be how it works.
Yeah, exactly. And we have to break the cycle. We have to break the cycle. I experienced that myself, to the point I once told one of my managers, I'm like, check this out. I go to church every Sunday, and you happen to be on my prayer request, and you've become a love project for me. I love you, man. I'd like to love you, but it cannot be a project for me to love you. So what the heck is going on that you are treating the same this way? And I want to realize it was top down, but I want to challenge everyone who's listening to this, is this whole notion of, because it's tough on me and I have to be tough on you. We have to break that cycle. First and foremost, leader, we have to have a vision where we are leading our team. That's number one. Second, we have to come around and be servant leadership. How can I help you today get your work done faster, and then you can go do your own thing? And many organizations believe, even in the virtual and the hybrid environment that we're working on, that people have to be constantly behind their computers for them to be effective. They're not really leading people, they're managing butts and seats. And what we need to get done is we have to lead people. We cannot manage people. You manage things, you lead people. Come around, be a servant leader, and support people in getting their work done. And don't stay there. Take it to the next level. Be a transformative leader. How can you help somebody at the end of their interaction with you, they can say, I am better today than before I met you. And which is one of the reasons I love coaching soccer. I love the development of players that
Mhm.
is from kindergarten to high school. Because my main goal is after that soccer season, all players on my team who had the desire to improve will say that Coach Jimmy helped them move from point A to point B.
Yeah.
If you do not, I failed you. Unless you don't want to grow. If you want to grow, I should be available to help you move from point A to point B. Not, we just wasted some important times that I'll never get back for the rest of our lives.
Yeah.
Life is too precious to waste time.
Precisely. There was one of the things you said that I wanted to come back to it when you're leading projects, how you have people all around the world working all around the clock, getting things done. I've been a part of enough projects to know that just because you have people all around the world working all around the clock, that doesn't necessarily mean that anything's getting done. You would be shocked at how easy it is to have a lot of motion, but no progress.
Yeah.
To me, is the trap that you're talking about is that you evaluate how effective your team is by how busy everybody is, because one effective thing that's done in 2 hours is more important than 10 hours of busy work. But of course, a lot of the things that people use to gauge effectiveness is basically busy work trackers. That doesn't necessarily tell you how effective people are.
You are absolutely correct, Doug. As a matter of fact, I was reading a research and also led a group study on this. It was the notion that during the pandemic, studies have revealed that companies have been more productive than ever, more productive than ever. So then there is this push that for people to go back into the office. They must ask the question, which group of people must be in the office? There's some work you have to be in the office to do it. You have to be, there's the creativity there, so on and so forth.
Yeah.
But what I discovered, there were a lot of companies that, or one type of software that gets sold the most was monitoring software, because companies
Interesting.
wanted to monitor that the employees were at their best. Even before the pandemic, some companies even provided their employees key card to even go to the bathroom. So when they go to the bathroom, they have to swipe it and they monitor how much time a person in the bathroom. To support your argument, this notion of being busy does not really mean that you are delivering outcomes, that you're providing results. So my question to someone during the study was, what is more important during an 8 hours time frame? Is it an employee doing their work efficiently in 4 hours, and they have 4 hours they can do whatever else they want? They can do their reading,
Yeah.
do their training, even take care to their own family, because they've done your 8 hours work in 4 hours, or somebody spending 8 hours at their desk looking at a screen for 8 hours and they deliver 2 hours worth of work. Which one is more efficient? If you have an employee that is spending 4 hours, that's doing their work in 4 hours in an 8 hour time frame, it may be time for them to give them a promotion to give them in a position that is more challenging.
Yeah.
Versus stating, oh, you should be at your desk for 8 hours staring at the camera so I can see you're working, where you're not doing anything because you've already done your work in 4 hours.
Yeah.
Or me hiring somebody who's not capable of doing the work, they spend 4 hours figuring out how to do the work and the other 4 hours to do the work. And I'm calling that.
A different way that I think about the same phenomenon is almost all the studies I've read have shown that I think it's somewhere between about 20 and 30% of work time is actually productive time, whereas other time is the busy work, things that don't meaningfully move the needle. On the one hand, you would say, oh, it's disturbing just because people aren't nearly as productive as they would otherwise think. On the other hand, you'd say, okay, if you have, say, an 8 hour day and only 2 of that is really productive, you only need to get that productivity up by 30 minutes, that real productive time up by 30 minutes, and you've just increased real productivity by 25%. You don't have to increase real productivity that much in order for it to be a very meaningful difference.
And me, what I do, I go back to my why and set goals and objectives for the team. Explain to them why they're doing it. Discovered in a lot of instances, when somebody knows why they're doing something,
Yeah.
they're doing it out of volition, and you get more of their creativity into it when they're doing it. So it's not, I don't need to tell you, God, prescribe to you what I need you to do. All I need you to do is tell you, this is where we're going. This is what I want us to achieve. Now go for it and make it happen. Be creative. Find a way to do it. If you start, come back to me. But if you find yourself telling somebody what they need to do, then you're not really leading them. right?
Yeah.
You're becoming a teacher, telling them, hey, do this. It's not a way to work because your time is being consumed and walking this person through that journey versus you supporting the person, coaching the person, mentoring the person, for the person to really be very creative.
Yeah. Yeah. The why really ties in with helping to develop people because the really meaningful thing you do as a leader is to develop people so that their capacity to be genuinely productive is that because of course, when you do that, what you end up doing is you will systematically make the team better. To me, that's what leadership is really about.
That's the way it should be.
This has been an amazing conversation. Is there a question that I should have asked, but I didn't? That's one of the things I like to end with because I like to try to see if there's any blind spots that I'm missing.
I think probably the question, Jimmy, what gets you excited when you wake up in the morning? And the answer for that for me would be the unknown. I am fascinated by the unknown. I am
Yeah.
fascinated, and probably that's why research is one of my favorite. That's my comfort zone. I'm fascinated because not to repeat this notion that many of us should be familiar with. The more I know how much I do not know.
Oh,
It is really a fascinating area. Even during the pandemic, I learned how to cook, I learned photography, videography, because the more I just wanted to create a little video. The next thing I know, I have to learn about light. I have to learn about
editing.
aperture. I have to learn about speed. I'm like, holy moly, all I want is the camera to good. So for me, when I wake up in the morning is that I always like to create my agenda. I know for the month, for the week, for the day, what I want to achieve, keep pointing things up, outcomes. But it is amazing. The journey is not a straight line, right? The journey
Yeah.
is up and down. Things that I think that's easy become complicated. Things that are complicated all of a sudden become easy. And I always tell people that try not to worry because you will be surprised. The things you worry about end up do not come to fruition. Ask yourself this question. If you're in a position of leadership, if why should somebody follow you? Ask yourself that question. And if you were somebody else, would you follow yourself? And if the answer is yes, that's amazing. If the answer is no, then today is the time that you need to stop, do some retrospect and figure out why should I be in this position and what can I do that others can freely follow me instead of me beating them over the head.
What's the best way for people to get a hold of you?
Wow. I am on LinkedIn. The best way is really to reach out to me on LinkedIn and
Perfect.
you're one of my 29,000. Yes, I'm throwing this out there. 29,000 followers. You all know every day I send a message to my LinkedIn followers, whether it is congratulating them on their work achievement, whether it's their birthdays and so forth. I try just to connect it to at least, I would probably say close to 30% of my 30,000, my 29,000 followers. Yes,
Beautiful.
reach out to me on LinkedIn. That's the easiest for me because every night I go to my messages and try to connect with me. And you can follow me. My website, I'm revamping my website, which is globalcompass.com. It's really global. I cannot provide you a GPS how to lead, but I can provide you with a compass and I have a hub of knowledge to share with you.
Got it.
Oh,
Globalcompasshub.com. Jimmy, it was a great conversation today.
Thank you, Doug. Thank you for the opportunity and the privilege to share with the audience as well. I appreciate it.